when you look at it, though, Jimmy G played great last week. If the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick wanted Jimmy G to take over at some point, regardless if the franchise tag was coming and they would have had to pay him $30 million or whatever the case is, if they really wanted him that bad to take over for Tom Brady, they would have kept him. They would have kept him. Do you look back, if you Bill Belichick, and say to yourself, you know, if I just had Jimmy G, I wouldn't have had to go out and draft Jared Stidham or find Cam Newton and sign him, I would have my quarterback in play. Clearly, he didn't feel that way about Jimmy G at the time, because Tom Brady's future was coming to a close for the New England Patriots at some point, whether it was last year, 2 years from now, it was going to at some point end. And if you have your heir apparent that's there, much like the Green Bay Packers deal with Brett Favre, or the San Francisco 49ers deal with Joe Montana, all legends in their organizations that won Super Bowls.
Sure.
They moved on. Montana moved on to Kansas City. Steve Young takes over. Brett Favre moves on to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers takes over. You can point to those examples and say, well, they could have done that with Tom if they felt that Jimmy G was the guy. Clearly, they didn't feel that way.
No question about it. And look, if you can trade Joe Montana and you can trade Brett Favre, you can certainly trade Jimmy Garoppolo. One quick note, a look back at how that pick, it was a second-round pick. People woke up in the morning and said, wait a minute. They just traded Jimmy G for a lone second-round pick. John Lynch picked up the phone. Lynch had always joked over the years that he picked up the phone and said, hey, Bill, is Tom available? And he's like, no, I just had to kick the tires. Well, you know, Tom's a Bay Area guy. Is Jimmy G available? And there's a lot of people that believe, why did Belichick get just a second-round pick? Well, the Pats turned it into 7 total players, most notably getting Jared Stidham, who many thought was the heir apparent. We'll wait to see on that. There was also, a lot of people that thought that he picked up the phone to call John Lynch. John Lynch had played for Mike Shanahan in Denver. Mike Shanahan is one of the very few coaches that has gotten over on Bill Belichick more than a lot of other people. And many people thought there was just a relationship there. The relationship with Kyle, his son, all of that made it happen. And there was a lot more to the trade than just satisfying Tom Brady.
You can't argue with Bill Belichick's record of moving on from players that played for him in terms of trades. I mean, Richard Seymour probably gave up a little too early for Richard Seymour because he turned into be an all-pro for the Raiders at the time when they were in Oakland. But if you start to look at some of the other players, whether it was a Drew Bledsoe or Lawyer Malloy, or whether it was a Deion Branch, I mean, he got something for those guys, and they were different players than they were under him in New England. I mean, you can't argue with that, right? So when he decides that he's moving on from this particular player, and you say to yourself, well, why would he do it? He's young, he's great, he's this. Did the 49ers really get their franchise quarterback? Because after trading for him, they started flirting with Tom Brady.
Right, and there's also some stories. Is it possible that if things don't work out with Cam, since he's on a one-year deal, the possibility of Jimmy G returning to New England next year, that's only floated because he hasn't satisfied many fans in San Francisco this year, despite that Super Bowl appearance.
And Cam hasn't satisfied many fans in Boston area as well, based on a 2-3 start. But he's played well other than this past game. I would take the previous games that he's played in and say, okay, if he wins the division, he gets him to the playoffs. I'm looking at Cam Newton as the next 3 years as the future quarterback of the New England Patriots. How can you move on from a guy that has done that, who continue to grow within your system? I know a lot of people argue all the time, well, if he stays healthy. That's not true. Like the dude over the life of his career in the NFL missed the 2019 season in 14 games. Prior to that, if you take the 2019 season out and you average it, 0.256 games that he's missed in his career in the National Football League. Prior to 2019, he's missed 5 games due to injury. 5 prior to 2019, which was a large scope. And I compare him to a guy that likes of an Aaron Rodgers, because just without doing any research and just in my mind, I'm like, Aaron Rodgers has missed a lot of games in the NFL since becoming a starter. If you look at Aaron Rodgers, 1.5 in 12 seasons. 1.5, a big year in 2017 when he missed 9, in 2013 when he missed 7, 10, 1 in 2010 and 1 in 2011. Mm-hmm. But I never hear anybody say if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy. The only reason why you're saying if Cam stays healthy is because he missed 1 full season basically in 2019. The guy's healthy now. You got to let it play out. As Aaron Rodgers would say, relax.
R-E-L-A-S.
If Cam Newton becomes a bust in New England, I'll be the first to tell you he just doesn't have it anymore. But it's too early to start to say, get rid of Cam, move on, let's go get Jimmy G. He was our guy. Because if he was your guy, you'd have kept him.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.